Hello, welcome to Drugs Unwrapped with myself, Rob. Today I'm delighted to be joined by Anna, who is the Young Persons Service Manager for Cardiff and the Vale Drug and Alcohol Service, CAVDAS, and also Mike, who is a doorman here in Cardiff. Welcome both. How are we?
Hi.
Good afternoon. Yeah, very well, thank you.
Good. Mike, to come to you first. So you're a doorman. How long have you been doing that and where are you stationed?
Okay, so I've been doing the doors about roughly 22 years now. I work at the Live Lounge and I've been there 10 or so years.
10 or so years.
Yeah.
And were you in Cardiff before that?
So yeah, I'm basically mostly based in Cardiff. I've done bits and bobs at the Valleys or over in Bristol, but yeah, my main base is Cardiff.
Lovely. Anna, CAVDAS, Young Persons, how's it going? What are we seeing trends-wise with young people?
Hi, Rob. It's going well. It's really busy. So we work up to 25 in young person services here. So we see quite a lot of that older age range, young people, loads of ketamine use, MDMA, cannabis still our main source of referral. But yeah, lots of ketamine, quite worrying ketamine use going on at the minute.
It's a massive trend, isn't it?
Massive trend, yeah.
Yeah, loads of ketamine. It's
Yeah.
kind of like, obviously we had our conference, but
Yeah.
it doesn't matter who you talk to, ketamine is right up there in terms of like one of the main substances people are seeing.
Lots of health issues quite quickly with young people these days when they're using ketamine. So yeah, quite young people, a lot of young people coming in, urine infections, bladder problems, so yeah, it's quite worrying.
Yeah, absolutely. So today's episode is on the nighttime economy. We'll look at it obviously kind of generally, but also we'll also focus a little bit on kind of like females as well and the implications around that. To bring you in first, Mike, obviously loads of experience then in terms of working as a doorman. What are the main substances that you're aware of in terms of those that are entering the Live Lounge or obviously other kind of venues that you may be aware of in Cardiff?
Cocaine is still very much up there. We do see a lot more people experimenting now with different drugs, speed and ketamine, but mostly cocaine is still about. We do have people smoking cannabis, but
does that cause much of an issue for you? Do you know, in terms of when you get people then who are using a range of drugs, and obviously the behaviours for those people then can vary from person to person?
well, yeah, the behaviours can be erratic, sometimes violent. If mostly with cocaine and alcohol, you mix that, you become very erratic, and with more pills. Everyone's a bit more euphoric, and the MDMA is the same. But more health and people taking too much, consuming too much, so they're overdosing. So finding people with kettles who are totally out of it, don't know where they are, don't know who they're with. Yeah, it is scary times.
And is that up to you then as a doorman to try and deal with that situation?
We'll try and stop drugs coming in as much as we can. We'll do searches. We'll give safe advice on why we're doing searches and what drugs are doing to people. Because we understand people are going to use drugs. We're not going to stop people using drugs. But it's trying to make people aware of go slow, go slow, sorry. And microdose if they can, rather than taking stupid amounts of bags or loads of grams at a time. Just do small amounts.
That's pretty good to hear. The like harm reduction is part of that. Then it's kind of like not. I get in terms of premises don't necessarily want illicit substances.
It's absolutely
in there,
no go. We can't have drugs on the premises. It's just in the eyes of the law. But we recognise that people they're coming to our venue. They're drinking. They are mixing it with substances, and how do we protect them after they have consumed it?
Yeah. And I know we were chatting just beforehand, so the Live Lounge is going to be part of a pilot in Cardiff. Is it, in terms of you guys being the first people to be trained in and carry naloxone? Is that right?
I think there are a couple of venues already starting to do the training for naloxone. We are looking into it with Anna. now on doing some naloxone training. Yeah, we look forward to doing that.
So basically, we got trained up by the Loop around the nighttime economy. We're trying to turn zero tolerance to harm reduction advice for the city, like they've done in Bristol. So the Live Lounge and Tramshed are the two venues that have come on board to say they'd love the training. So we're going to be looking at drink spiking, also handling someone who's in a crisis through a substance they've taken, and looking at sort of like hotspots in the venue, and then the naloxone training for the staff, bar staff, door staff, all sorts. So yeah, we've just put the training package together. We've been trained from the Loop. So yeah, we're going to be rolling it out now across the summer, just in time, because Cardiff is a massive student city. So we want to get that done before freshers, because when freshers hits, the city is flooded with lots of youngsters. Sometimes it's their first time away from home, and they just, you know, party a little bit too hard sometimes.
Go a bit mad sometimes.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. That's cool though. That's yeah. Hopefully you'll never have to use it.
Hopefully.
Fingers crossed. But if you do, it's better to have it and be able to use it, I guess, as well, isn't it? As well. Cool. Good work, Mike. Keep it up. Yeah. Anna, so in terms of in the nighttime economy then, so what does this look like for a female? How is it different to a male? And ultimately, what are the things that females have to constantly think about, kind of look out for, just literally to ensure that they're safe? Because coming from a white male, I'll be brutally honest, I don't really have to think about too much. I just go out. Not that I go out very much, but I just go out, you know, and there's not really much to think about. But for a female, I'm making an assumption, but it's very different.
I think so. Yeah, I think even biology-wise, drugs affect females differently to males. But take that aside, it's the safety element. I think girls are always told, it's always on the girl, isn't it? Keep your phone charged, carry your keys in your hand, don't walk down this road, don't do this. Or then you get the whole like, well, you're dressed like that. You're always questioning your behaviour rather than perhaps the person that has been the perpetrator. I do think girls, we just do it. We just naturally do it. We're always more aware. But then I think the emphasis is on the girls to keep themselves safe rather than looking at the behaviour of boys, men, you know. So I think we need to try and change that narrative.
I was going to say, do you think there needs to be more emphasis on trying to reduce that behaviour from a perpetrator perspective? And if so, how do you do that?
I definitely think so. I think at the minute we're living in a world where we've got massive influencers like Andrew Tate, all of that. It's just fed into this misogyny, seeing women and girls as sort of like second-class citizens. I've got a son and I've got a daughter, so I try really hard to instill those values in my son, as well as sort of like keeping my daughter safe because she's 18, so she's just started on that kind of like going clubbing. But I think it's probably worse now than it's been for a little while, especially with the rise of these influencers and that sort of like that narrative around misogyny and the way women are viewed. Yeah.
I'm going to put it out, it's disgusting.
It's disgusting, yeah.
It is.
It is, yeah.
And seeing some of the videos, unfortunately, they just crop up sometimes, don't they?
Yeah.
And it's just...
So we see it in young person services here. Young boys are just indoctrinated into this view, and we know that like teachers are having issues with boys in school. We see it with the kids we work with. There's actually now services set up just to work with young men around these views and trying to like, but if you've got someone who's got, I don't know, 30 million followers and they're rich and they're famous, then, you know, it's difficult because kids like looking up to people, don't they? And they need that. And these men have become role models, and it's really worrying.
Do you think then in terms of trying to have more of an emphasis on that kind of perpetrator behavior in terms of trying to reduce that, it just makes it a lot more difficult then when you have essentially got really easy access to certain individuals on social media as an example.
Definitely. And I think I've worked with numerous girls over the years who have perhaps been in an abusive relationship or have ended up doing things that they perhaps didn't consent to at the time. And what happens is the girl gets sent on a healthy relationships course. And it's like, well, it's always putting the blame back on the victim or the emphasis on the victim. So, you know, why should that girl be put on a healthy relationships course when actually she's the victim in this? We see that a lot. Yeah.
A lovely bit of victim blaming there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So what can services do? Like, you know, in terms of, I'm not necessarily just saying like CAVDAS, but just services generally in terms of, obviously within our remit, within the substance use services. Is there anything that we can do then to try and shift that emphasis towards perpetrator behaviour, rather, like you said, you know, in terms of the constant messages of towards females to, you know, keep yourself safe in this way and that way?
Yeah, I think we try. I think there's lots of services set up now to work with young men, to work with young girls. But I think it has to be systemic change and looking at platforms that these people are given, the social media platforms, the messages. You know, it's difficult when you've got someone who, I mean, if you take Andrew Tate, he's been arrested, but yet he's been to the White House, and you know he's still seen as this amazing guy who young men look up to. There's courses for young men in there on how to treat women, and this misogyny. There's like it's just a really scary world, and I think it's really scary for boys as well. I don't want to just talk about like girls' safety. Like I said, I've got a son. He struggles with looking for a role model who is a white male, because actually, when we've sat down and talked about it, if you think about white males, there aren't that many good role models. There's a lot of sort of horrible people out there. So I think we need to look after our boys as well. Yeah.
Mike, bring you back in. How serious from your perspective, or just generally, would you say, how serious do you think establishments within the nighttime economy, so the bars, the clubs, take women's safety, and ultimately, how do they do this? And do you feel it works?
We take it very seriously. We work with, I don't know if you've heard of Ask Angela or Ask for Angela. And then for Angel Shot, so if we have a young lady who's in distress or she's trying to get away from a partner, she can always come to us, ask for Angela. We'll take her away and escort her to somewhere safe and get a female member of staff there to talk to her, try and find out if the perpetrator's still around, so you can get either police involved if they need to be police involved. But yeah, it's misogyny has always been out there. It's spotting it and it's picking people up on it and correcting them at the time. So when it comes to teaching the boys, we need to have a word with them. We need to have a chat with them, pull them aside. Yeah.
Do you know, in terms of ask for Angela then, would you say from your perspective, it's well known? So, you know, if somebody was to go into any place in Cardiff, I know you can't talk for all the different bars and clubs, but would you be confident that if somebody was to go into any bar or club in Cardiff and they were to essentially ask for Angela, that the processes would be put in place? I mean, because you sometimes see on social media, and again, I don't know what is fake and what's real nowadays, but sometimes, you know, you
do get a lot of social engineering. So how do you engage with these people? Are they winding you up? Is this real? Is this something happening? So always believe the victim. If the victim's there, just believe them, hear their story out. If nothing comes of it, nothing comes of it. But ultimately, if you've safeguarded someone, you've done your job great. A lot of venues aren't trained as well as the live lounge. I think we're probably one of the best in Cardiff. But yeah, Ask for Angela is quite widely known, and then the angel shot is quite widely known, and then you've got the hand signal. I don't know if you've seen the hand signal with a thumb, and you close your fist round. So if, say, across the room, music's blaring, you see a young lady doing that, that's a sign of distress. So we have to investigate it and find out if everything's okay with that person.
So they put their hand up, four
They put
fingers
their hand
up.
up, 4 fingers, close their thumb in their fist, and close their fist over their thumb.
So they could do that on like the dance floor.
They can
for
do that on the
example.
dance floor. So obviously, if they're far away, or they're being pinned by someone, or they feel like they can't get out, they can put their hand up and they can do that. And that's, most of my staff know that's a sign of distress.
I didn't know that. How well known do you think that is among?
I think it's probably not as well known as Ask for Angela. I don't know what the angel shot is, so I was going to ask you what that is.
I think the angel shot is an American thing we've adopted.
Okay.
A lot of people will ask the bar staff or the bar managers can have an angel shot.
Oh, okay.
So not necessarily us, but mostly for the bar staff.
But yeah, I think the hand signal is quite a new thing, and it's becoming a bit more well known. But I don't think it's as well known as Ask for Angela. No.
That's something to get out there then, isn't it? In terms of a bit more, not to, from your kind of experience, is kind of Ask for Angela and that kind of somebody doing that hand signal, is that a common occurrence, or is it on a rarity?
Yeah, it's plenty of times. Whether it's someone fleeing a partner, whether it's someone stuck on a table with a group they don't want to be with, they'll approach us. Most of the time they'll come and ask for help, they'll come and ask for assistance, but sometimes we do get the Ask for Angela. If they're on the streets, they can come to us anytime, because I'm on the front line most of the time, so I'm on the front door all the time, so anyone can approach me and ask for Angela. I can always help and assist. And like I said, we'll take them to a safe location, bring a female bar member of staff or manager to have a chat with the lady, and then I'll find out if there is a perpetrator around or if I can get police involved.
I was going to say, like, after that occurrence then, so say if that individual, that perpetrator has left, what's the process there then? Because obviously if they were to leave the venue and maybe, let's just say the perpetrator is hanging around the area, how do establishments ensure that that person remains safe for as long as possible?
We've always got the police radio, so if we think there's an immediate threat to ourselves or to the victim or to anyone who's asked for Angela, we'll radio the police, inform them of who the perpetrator is, they can keep an eye on them, we can watch them. If needed, they can send a unit. Failing that, we can always take the person to a taxi, we can phone parents, see if parents come pick them up. But yeah, we'll always make sure they're kept safe and sound.
That's quite, I think sometimes the worry is, isn't it? Not just in terms of with this, but like you look at like similar kind of situations where once the person is kind of okay there and then that support ends, isn't it? It's like,
But then they're drinking, aren't they? And so they are taking a substance in the facility. That's the point of them being there. So I think you do have a duty of care, whether it be that they've taken something illicit and potentially taken too much, or got themselves, people get themselves into a sticky situation. But ultimately they're coming to a venue and they're having drinks. So it's about, for me, I think it's really good that there are safeguards put in place, because it's quite a big student venue as well. So there are a lot of young people that have kind of, like I said, first time away from home, in a big city, and not necessarily with groups of people that they know. So I think you tend to see students, we see it a lot around freshers time, that they've just met this group of people, they go on this night out, and suddenly actually you kind of sort of saying like, who are you with? Who are you with tonight? And they've all gone and left, or, and people can be stuck on their own, can't they? So I think it's good that people can come to you and ask for help.
there's an element of trust there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Which is quite,
yeah.
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 It's quite powerful. You hold the power, Mike.
It is fascinating because obviously drugs, some of the society is seen as disgusting, and people are mortified that their friends have taken it or so and so's taken it, and then the realization of they've taken it. So it is nice to be able to talk to these people, be able to be open with them, and let them know that they're in a safe environment. They're not going to be judged. They're not going to be belittled, and we can safeguard them any way we can.
Yeah. Is spiking much of an issue from what you see?
Not very often. We do have cases of it reported to us, and we investigate it and we find out. But we don't really have many cases of. We had a stint of a lot of people saying they've been jabbed with a syringe. So I think that was 2 or 3 years back. It was so we had a lot of people coming to us saying, "Oh, I've been spiked," and we've looked at the cameras, we've checked because we have I think 60 odd cameras in live lines. We're covering every angle. We want to check everywhere. But yeah, it does happen, and it's something we need to keep an eye out. Just with the ladies, we advise you: did you see the drink get poured? Did you watch the barman make it? Did you have it off a stranger? Don't just pick up random drinks, because we'll have a lot of minesweepers, is what they're called, when people go around just picking up drinks. So
What, to consume for themselves?
to consume for themselves, because they don't bring money out. So
Lovely.
some students just don't like to spend money. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
A cheap night out for them. But,
yeah.
okay. But
But you never know what's in that drink.
no,
So
absolutely.
whether it's been topped up with more vodka or whether it's been topped up with a date rape drug.
Yeah, someone could get a bit of a shock sometimes, couldn't they, with that? And I actually quite loathe to ask this, if I am brutally honest with you, because we've kind of talked about more emphasis being on the perpetrator. But what are the safety tips then for somebody who is just generally going to be on a night out, just to ensure that they keep themselves as safe as possible within their own control?
So what we always say to anyone we work with or anyone we know in our personal lives is that, I think what I will say is I think Cardiff is one of the safest cities that I've ever sort of been out in. I'm not from Cardiff, so I moved up here. But it's all about make sure your phone is charged, make sure that you if you can stay with your friends, stay with your friends. Most importantly for me, I think, is go and find help from a doorman. We've got street pastors, we've got and be honest. Just be honest about what's gone on. If you've taken something, just be honest about it. If you find yourself in a situation that is out of your control, go and get some help from somewhere. There's quite a lot of nighttime safety that goes on in Cardiff. There's the safety bus. Door staff are always, I've always advocated for people to go and find door staff at any venue.
What's the safety bus?
So the safety bus is an initiative with the police. So they're volunteers, and they just basically go around the city centre and give people lifts home, keep people safe. We've got the alcohol treatment centre, so anyone who comes a bit unstuck through alcohol can be sent there to just be looked after for the night. Do you have much to do with the safety bus?
Yeah,
you probably know more than me.
Yeah, we got direct link to the safety bus with our radio, so we can get hold of them. Mainly students, they look after, but they do help with say severe cases. Say someone is on their own, hasn't got a mobile phone, or are really passed out drunk and needs to get to the alcohol treatment centre. So they do help us out with that as well. And the street pastors are great. You got a local street pastor group which come around every weekend. Handing out flip-flops.
I was going to ask, do they hand out flip-flops?
Flip-flops and lollies.
Yeah, blankets if needed.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I found out one thing yesterday within the student population, that I don't know whether it might be street pastors maybe giving out lollipops, but there was research done where it's only half a story, so I can only apologise. But they were giving lollipops to students after a night out to try and keep them as quiet as possible when they go home. Because obviously when people have had a few drinks and they're on their way home, they can be quite loud. So it was a way to try and
I thought it was
reduce
the
levels.
sugar. I thought it was for sugar.
Maybe that as
yeah,
well.
I don't know though. That makes sense. Yeah. That does
Because they
make
got
sense.
something in their mouth, so they
Yes.
can't.
And
Yeah.
screaming, shouting, singing. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I should get my kids more lollipops.
More lollies. That'll be the sugar then though.
In terms, I guess this is open to both, but we'll come to you first, Anna. So if a bystander was to witness something, so just a general member of the public, if they were going to witness some form of behaviour that threatens, I say a female's safety, but I guess we could just open up to just generally in terms of anybody's safety. So whether that's harassment, whether that is obviously some form of physical kind of threatening behaviour, what could that bystander do, would you say?
So I think it's really difficult, isn't it? And I think it depends on the circumstances. And I wouldn't want anyone to put themselves in a dangerous situation themselves just by, helping someone. I think you definitely should call it out if you feel safe to do it, and like intervene if you feel safe. Again, it all depends on that circumstance. But again, there's always, especially if you're looking at the nighttime economy and the city centre life, there's always somewhere to go to get support with if you've seen something. It's really difficult though, isn't it? You don't want people to put themselves in danger.
Yeah, you don't want to put yourself in a position where you're going to be...
I suppose it's a bit different if you're someone like Mike and, it's not... Whereas if it was perhaps myself on my own, I wouldn't want to... I probably would intervene, but it's really difficult. What I think it's about calling out when you see your friends do it and say it. And that doesn't have to be in the nighttime economy. That can be in any walk of life. If you see something or your friends are having those conversations or making those comments, just call it out, because I think that's where we need to be. We need to be not seeing it as okay or a laugh or banter or, it is what it is. It's misogyny, it's abuse. And I think that's where it needs to happen as well, is just in everyday life, as well as sort of like, well, I think when you're starting to talk about nighttime, you introduce perhaps alcohol or other substances, so inhibitions are lowered and people are behaving in a manner that they never would normally.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike, anything in terms of a member of the public, a bystander was to witness anything, would you...
Just don't hesitate to come and speak to us. If we're around, come to us straight away. If you're on your own, get your phone out. Start talking to someone on the phone, even if you haven't phoned anyone yet. Ideally, be on the phone to someone to talk, tell them what's going on, and you can then help another victim out by letting them know that you're there, you're on the phone to the police, or you're on the phone to help us on the way, and potentially the perpetrator might be deterred. But we do see a lot of creeps creeping around, following girls, so we'll pull it out, or we'll call the police straight away. We'll let the police know straight away. If we feel that that person in danger, we will 9 times out of 10 intervene. Maybe detain the person who's put hands on the person, or who is threatening that person, or who has threatened or been abusive towards that person. Ultimately come to us, ask for help.
I sit on the adolescent safeguarding meeting in the University Hospital of Wales once a fortnight. So it's the Heath Hospital. So any 16 or 17-year-old that's been brought into A&E will come through this meeting if there's a safeguarding need. And so that we see has themes. So a few weeks ago it was exam stress. There's lots of mental health crisis. So it was quite kind of the theme for that meeting. The summer's come in, so we pick up a lot of young people that have been brought in because they've been drinking. So we've got like festival season coming, camping season coming. So we'll see a lot of that. What we see a lot of through that meeting is that kind of county lines organised criminal gang activity. So previously, over the last few years, stabbings was quite a big thing, whereas now that is so reported to the police, and there's we've got violence prevention teams, we've got lots of services that will work with victims of stabbing, that the gangs have changed tact and they're now hitting these kids off their bikes and scooters with cars. So I know it's so scary. So we'll get probably 2 or 3, some weeks 5 young people that have been brought in because they've been hit off their e-bike or their e-scooter by a car, because it's not as recognised as someone, getting stabbed. So I think that's a trend that we're seeing, particularly in the young person service here. Yeah. That's
another level.
I know, yeah.
To say they're always one step ahead, I think, is that underestimates that.
Yeah, definitely. So we saw through COVID the kids were getting their Just Eat bags, and we see it out here. You see the kids whizzing around on their e-bikes and e-scooters with their Just Eat bags, but they're not delivering food. It's just yeah.
That's crazy. Is that a big issue? And I know we're kind of moving away from like nighttime economy stuff, but is that an ever growing issue in terms of county lines and that kind of whole
I think
situation?
so. Yeah, I think so. And I think, like you say, it's ever changing. It's become, there's a lot of work that's gone into county lines, gone into sort of like that drug trafficking and, youngsters being used to go around delivering. And like we know, young people will say they got robbed, so then they're in debt to these dealers, so they never get out of it. So yeah, I do think it's something that's just become massive over the last few years, and it's ever evolving, much more risk, yeah.
Yeah, and I guess authorities and such like are constantly playing catch up as well, aren't they, trying to gain an idea of what the next
definitely
next new ways are and stuff.
Yeah, and that feeds into the sort of trends with substances, because it is more sort of pills, powder. The way that young people get substances has changed. It's now sort of like via social media. Snapchat is a big thing. So you don't sort of like see that stereotypical go down, meet your dealer at the lane. You're sort of delivered to your door. It literally comes through the post, or or on a Just Eat Deliveroo bag.
So if I see my neighbour getting a Deliveroo or Just Eat, it's to question whether it's a pizza or
see what comes out the bag.
See what comes out the bag. Yeah, cool. Anything else anybody would like to?
Cardiff is a safe city. Just say that. Yeah. It is a lovely city. Yeah, I feel much more at ease knowing that my daughter is out clubbing in Cardiff than I would if it was somewhere where perhaps the door staff weren't all linked up with radios and CCTV, and so I feel that I do think it's a safe city.
It is a really nice city, and obviously we're down in the bay as well here, which is lovely as well. Anna, thank you very much. Mike, thank you very much. Time for you, I think, to get some sleep. 10 o'clock tonight, is it? You're on shift?
Back in tonight, yeah.
What time do you finish?
4:30 in the morning.
Oh, just when my kids are getting up.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, timing.
There we go. Guys, thank you very much. And to everyone else, we will see you soon. Bye-bye. If you have been affected by any of the issues discussed in today's podcast, please reach out. Barod have a free and confidential live web chat service that is available 7 days a week on our website at barod.cymru, where you can chat to a trained support worker. Alternatively, you can contact Wales's National Drug and Alcohol Helpline, Dan 24/7, either by calling 0808 808 2234 or text Dan to 81066.